Welcome everybody. All right, this is the last installment, the last one. This has been so much fun. As I said, we've done. I've gone through folk, gone through all of 1971. We've gone through rock, blues, folk, prog rock, fusion, and now we're doing the world music. This is the last of it, and we've done probably 20 plus tunes on here through the whole 1971. So again, we're gonna do, we'll do some more from 1971. Eventually, we'll do some full albums. Whatever artists happen to fall into it, we'll do it. But yeah, we're just gonna keep moving out and moving beyond into different styles, and always gonna hit some of the mixture of some mainstream, of obscure, of different styles. So always trying to come up with new ideas on how to put stuff out there, how to, based on style, based on chronology, on research, on different scenes that were happening, on the best players of the time, who was not sort of stuff that was underground. So always trying to come at music from, a different way, a more interesting way, and tie it all together for people and myself. And at the end, it's discovery for myself, discovery hopefully for you, listening to some new stuff, and enjoying what you have, enjoying hearing somebody appreciate what you've already known, and vice versa, appreciating the stuff that I can put out there for you to experience for the first time. So to continue on with the last one for 1971, and we're going to do the last one. I feel like I want to jump off with a bang, and this is a new one for me. I have not heard this, but it's 1971. I wanted to fill out this world music medley, and I decided, there's so much of this artist, but on this particular album, I really wanted to do this when I heard it, and I was like, wow, that's just an awesome piece. And we've got some of the same musicians, a couple of the same musicians that we've had on previous songs on this. So Bernard Purdie is also on this one. We did him. He was on the Harlem River Drive album with the Seeds of Life that we did. Anyway, so this is by Mongo Santa Maria, album Mongo's Way, 1971, with Mongo Santa Maria on conga drums, Armando Pereza on bongos and congas, Julito Colazzo on shakera, Ray Maldonado on trumpet and percussion, Marty Scheller on percussion, Bernard Purdie, as I said, and Don Elias on drums. I think I've heard of Don Elias. I can't remember. Was he with Weather Report? Not sure. He sounds familiar. Lou Soloff on trumpet, Grant Reed on tenor sax, Eric Gale on guitar. I think we've heard him. Chuck Rainey on bass, with Israel Lopez also on bass. Neil Craig on piano and electric, and Roger Glenn on flute and vibes, and Stanley Turrentine on tenor. So yeah, I've heard a bunch of these people: Mongo, Bernard Purdie, Eric Gale on guitar, Chuck Rainey, Stanley Turrentine. Obviously, he was huge in that period. Hear him, as a session player and more. He's all over the place. So yeah, this is going to be a really good ensemble here. So let's listen to it first, and then we'll go into it a little bit. So this is Mongo Santa Maria with The Letter. Turn up. Obviously, that was way too short for that number of professionals playing on that. You had so much potential on there to play, a good 10-minute version. Stanley Turrentine tenor, Roger Glenn on flute. Yeah, Roger Glenn. Oh my God, dude, the flute sounded so fluid, man, just flying all over the place. Yeah, and right at the end, Eric Gale looks like he wanted to do a little bit of sounded like he was going into Santana mode there for a second, but they kind of kept the reins on him. Pretty good. And yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't necessarily need to hear guitar. It might have, who knows? But sometimes, yeah, if it was guitar on there just kind of wailing away, I might have been a little bit less excited about this, just because I don't know. I want to hear the other instruments sometimes, and guitar kind of can get over the top a little bit on this style of music. Anyway, so yeah, obviously the percussion on this. So you had Armando Peraza bongos, congas, Mongo Santa Maria with the and Marty Scheller, Julito Colazzo, shakere. I don't know what the shakere is. Maybe it's like a cowbell or something. But yeah, Roger Glenn, flute solo, fantastic. Stanley Turrentine, tenor, fantastic. The trumpet, I don't know if that was Ray Maldonado or Lou Soloff, but yeah, that trumpet was, just off the charts. Fantastic. God, yeah, I needed to be longer. It felt, but the sound, the audio, obviously, everything was so clear and concise. I couldn't turn it up loud enough in my headphones, honestly. I kind of wanted to just get inside of it and got to be in the studio. But I'm going to have to check out if there's a live version of this, because I want to hear something a little bit longer, a little bit more with that sort of energy of a live performance, But it's great, sometimes in the studio, to get that energy can be difficult. It's not like if they're on stage, sometimes you just letting it rip, man. But in the studio, you have to be it's a little bit more controlled chaos. And to get that, that fine balance, can be something kind of tricky if they're not used to it, which I'm sure they are all very used to, sort of getting that energy, whether in whatever conditions. So yeah, just to round out some of the stuff with background on Mongo Santa Maria, this was his 28th album. So 1971, he'd already put out 28 albums since 1952. So after returning from Mexico in 1950, Santa Maria moved to New York City, where he became Tito Puente's conga player. And then in 1957, he joined Carl Jader's Latin Jazz Combo. 1959, Santa Maria recorded Afro Blue, the first jazz standard built upon a typical African 3/2 cross rhythm, or hemiola. So that was something new I didn't realize, and I hadn't heard the song before. I've heard a handful of Mongo Santa Maria tunes, but haven't, for 28 albums, I definitely haven't done my due diligence for, going across them. So I really need to jump into a Mongo Santa Maria rabbit hole and just, see how many carrots I come up with. So Hancock recalls what happened the night that Santa Maria discovered Watermelon Man, the only tune of Santa Maria's to reach the top of the pop charts, as we just said in the previous video on this one, with Bob Marley, or with, who did Watermelon Man? That was not Bob Marley, Fela Kuti. Sorry, I was trying to think who did Watermelon Man. Yeah, Fela Kuti, recorded the first African cover version of Herbie Hancock's hit Watermelon Man. So obviously, it was huge enough where it was kind of an instant jump into get a new artist. So with back to Mongo Santa Maria, with Mongo Santa Maria, he remembers the first time he heard Hancock do Watermelon Man. It was the only tune of Santa Maria's to reach the top of the pop charts. So he also did it in 1970, another year. So jazz trumpeter Donald Byrd said he came to the supper club to see how I was doing. Mongo Santa Maria. Anyway, during one of the intermissions, Donald had a conversation with Mongo, something about what are the examples of the common thread between Afro-Cuban or Afro-Latin music and African-American jazz. And Mongo said he hadn't really heard anything that links the two together but he was still searching for it. And I wasn't paying much attention to that conversation. It was a little too heavy for me at the time. But then all of a sudden, Donald Byrd says, "Herbie, why don't you play Watermelon Man for Mungo?" And I'm thinking, what does that have to do with the conversation they're talking about? I thought it was a little funky jazz tune, so I started playing it. And then Mungo, he got up and he said, "Keep playing it." He went on the stage and played his congas, and it fit like a glove fits on the hand. It just fit perfectly. The bass player looked at my left hand for the bass line, and he learned that. Little by little, the audience was getting up from their tables, and they all got on the dance floor. Pretty soon, the dance floor was filled with people laughing and shrieking, was having a great time, and they were saying, "This is a hit. This is fantastic." It was like a movie. So after that, Mongo said, "Can I record this?" And I said, "By all means." And he recorded it, and it became a big hit. And that's how it happened. So yeah, between Donald Byrd and Herbie Hancock and Mongo Santamaria, that's how his hit for Watermelon Man came out. And yeah, as we said later, in Fela in 1971, he did a version of Watermelon Man and introduced African stylings, also Afrobeat, to a population through that song. So Watermelon Man apparently had a huge impact on getting a lot of other voices heard in world music, from Mongo Santamaria to Fela Kuti. So yeah, and so that's Mongo Santamaria, and that was obviously a cover. And I didn't write down who that was, but I know we all know that song, The Letter, from the 60s band. Very popular. But this was obviously instrumental, and it was a really cool version. So I'm going to have to really dig into some more Mongo Santamaria. And anyway, that is the last installment for me for this time, for 1971. As I said, I've gone into 7 different genres of the period, all this to try to look at, 1971 as being sort of a watershed year, and for just newer music and new adventurous styles of music, and I think through the world music, through the evolution of pop and rock music, at the time, it just shows that there was a period of large experimentation, and groups were really just going into their minds and into their the different idioms, the different genres, for inspiration, and just to put it out things in a whole new way. So anyway, yeah. So that was that's what I was sort of looking at this into, the year that potentially changed. Every style changes, everything has an impact, So it's just interesting to look at it in a sort of a yearly, into the particular year and all the styles that were coming out, and to see how things were evolving from previous years. So. And I've done 1969, 1970, and I had to do 1971. But this one I definitely went a little bit more expansive. So I think in future years, I'll have to kind of go into a little bit more length to sort of get a widespread look, and not just sort of look at the hits from the time. So yeah, and in comparison to the hits of the time, in previous videos I did go into that, sort of what were some of the pop hits. But obviously with this world music one, it's kind of off the beaten path. So it's not necessarily as it's not really a comparison, because that was all kind of in the States, and these are typically more crossover hits. So anyway, I appreciate you all being here. Again, yeah, check out the polls. I have some polls up in community tab, and really want to do a full album, and really want as much input on that as I can. So I appreciate everyone going there and just vote for your best pick for a full album listen. And if you have any comments for another album that's not on the poll, please include it. I'll put up another poll, or find a way to incorporate it in. So anyway, I really appreciate everybody being here and communicating as they have been doing more and more, and try to reach out. I'm trying to reach out to everybody, everybody that chooses to write a comment and communicate with me. I'm gonna give it right back to you. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening. It makes it all worthwhile. Again, we'll see you next time. I'm going to jump into either full albums or jumping into the Canterbury scene, and definitely want to do some, I still have a little bit stuff off the beaten tracks to push into here, as far as popularity. I know everybody falls into a certain bracket of the style of music they like, and I do the same, but I really want to stretch my horizons and stretch everyone else's horizons to some degree, and find stuff that they really can and enjoy, and enhance their listening experience. So if there's some different genres I may jump into, whether it's, electronic music or even punk music or some jazz or more world music, along with all of the stuff, I'll be doing that. So anyway, I hope everybody, actually, last thing. So it is the world music marathon that I did today. So I did put out this one guitar here. It's not actually a guitar. I just wanted to show you if everybody cares. So this is one of the instruments that I built a few years ago in 2015, but I actually started in 2015, but I didn't really finish it until probably last year, so it's kind of new. And I had inspiration to build it from a person playing the style of music, but this is basically a T-play. It's a 3/4 size guitar, basically shape, obviously. But the strings, you can see it's a 12 string, so it's got three courses for each. So it's kind of like a 12 string, except that it's got an extra octave string on each course. And it's a Colombian instrument, and as you can see, it's basically, similar to guitar, but I kind of had like a nice rosewood back and sides. And if you can see the headstock, I did a kind of interesting, I may zoom in, I'll take a picture of it for everybody. But I took it from an album from this Mexican player, Antonio Bribiesca, who's kind of it's from probably the 50s or 60s. But he plays, kind of like, not flamenco, but like kind of nice Mexican guitar music. But he does it on a steel string, not like a classical nylon. The album cover. And I just kind of had a friend who was just started doing like wood burning in wood, and he basically just did the wood burning of the album cover onto the headstock. And anyway, yeah, it's got an interesting sound to it. And unfortunately, by the time I built it, my fervor for that style of music had, not waned, but it had kind of lost some of its momentum, and with everything else going on, so I don't play as much as I should. But anyway, yeah. So I have a few instruments that I built. Yeah, when I went to a program in 2015, and just kind of like as something that I wanted to do at some point in my life, and just went through a program and ended up building a few instruments. And I don't know if I have the need or want to do so in the future to keep doing it. I wasn't doing it for sort of, to create business for myself or anything. But anyway, just for fun and sort of fulfill a need a bucket list, I suppose. And anyway, so thanks for being here. Hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.